There's a silent war most of us don't even realize we're fighting. It's not with the world. It's not with other people. It's with our own mind every day. From the moment you wake up, your mind is pulling you in every direction, but now it's thinking about the text you haven't answered, the conversation from last week, the future you're anxious about, the past you wish you could undo. And the tragedy is, while your body is here, your life isn't. Your life is stuck in places you can't control anymore. You wake up, but your soul is still reliving yesterday. You eat, but your mind is still calculating tomorrow. You sit with someone, but your attention is already somewhere else. And then we wonder why we feel disconnected, unfulfilled, and restless. Let me ask you something. How much of your life have you actually lived in the present moment? Not thinking about what's next, not replaying what went wrong, but simply being here right now with what you have. Because here's the truth. Life isn't happening in your memories or your plans. It's happening now. But most of us are missing it. We've been taught to chase presence as if it's something outside of us. Buy this course, read that book, take that trip, and maybe, just maybe, you'll finally feel present. But here's what no one tells you. You're already present. You just don't know how to realize it. It's like sunlight buried under storm clouds. The light never left. You just stopped seeing it. What's in the way? Thought, noise, the endless stream of stories your mind keeps generating about who you are, what you need, and where you should be by now. And until you learn to silence the noise, you'll always confuse your thoughts about life for life itself. Let me break it down. You're not lost. You're just layered. You are not disconnected. You are distracted. Presence doesn't need to be created. It needs to be uncovered. Think about this. If I asked you to sit in silence for 10 minutes with no phone, no music, no distractions, would that feel peaceful or unbearable? For most people, silence feels like torture. Why? Because in that stillness, all the noise you've been avoiding rushes in. The thoughts you've suppressed, the emotions you've buried, the fears you've postponed, they all rise to the surface. But here's the paradox. That discomfort, that chaos, that's the doorway to presence. Because once you stop running, once you stop resisting, you start noticing something powerful. You are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. And when you observe without attaching, you reclaim something you forgot was yours, control. The world is addicted to doing. We glorify hustle. We worship productivity. We measure our worth in output. But nobody ever teaches us the value of being. Everyone says, do more to become more. But what if the most powerful transformation doesn't come from doing at all? What if it comes from undoing the lies, undoing the rush, undoing the belief that your worth is tied to your achievement? There is a version of you buried beneath all the noise, and that version of you is already whole. You don't need to do more to find it. You need to remove what's in the way. Let me give you an example. Most of us think we'll feel complete when we have the right title, the right relationship, the right bank balance. But what happens when you get there? That nagging sense of not enough just shifts to a new goal, a new milestone. You say, once I get that job, I'll be happy. Then you get it. And the joy lasts 2 weeks. Then it's once I get the promotion. Then once I have more freedom. Then once I finally slow down. It never ends. And that's the point, because you're not chasing goals, you're chasing presence. You're chasing that feeling of being enough, being grounded, being free, but presence was never at the end of the road. It was right here the whole time. I remember a monk once told me, the mind is a beautiful servant, but a terrible master. And he was right. When your mind runs the show, it convinces you that peace is always elsewhere. But when you master your mind, you realize peace was never missing, your attention was. So how do we return to presence? You start small. You eat, and you only eat. No scrolling, no rushing, just presence with every bite. You walk, and you only walk. Feel your feet, the wind, the rhythm, be there. You breathe, and you only breathe. No control, just observation. Over time, presence becomes your default, not your destination. You'll notice when your mind slips away. You'll catch it drifting. And instead of following the thought, you'll return to the now. This is a muscle and you have to train it, because the cost of distraction isn't just lost time. It's a life half lived. And I don't want that for you. I want you to feel the joy that's already in front of you. I want you to wake up and realize there's nothing missing. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are just distracted. Let this moment be your reminder. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to hustle your way into peace. You just have to come home to the moment you're already in. That's where everything changes. So let me ask you something. What would your life feel like if you fully showed up for it? Not halfway, not mentally checked out, but fully present here, now, alive. Take a deep breath right now and ask yourself, where am I? Am I here? Or am I stuck in a place that no longer exists? If this message stirred something in you, drop a comment below. In DA, like this video if it helped you reconnect, ATA. And don't forget to subscribe. This journey is just getting started. Thank you for walking this path with me. Next, section 2, true freedom through discipline. Let me know when you're ready for me to begin. What if I told you most people's idea of freedom is actually a prison? You think freedom is eating whenever you're hungry, saying whatever you feel, going wherever you want, doing what you want when you want. Sounds great, right? But let me ask you, why then, with all that freedom, do so many people still feel stuck? Why do we feel overwhelmed by choices, ruled by cravings, dominated by distractions? Because that's not freedom. That's enslavement to the mind. Real freedom is not the absence of rules. It's the presence of self-mastery. It's the ability to say no when every part of you wants to say yes. It's the strength to sit with discomfort without running to escape it. It's knowing you could, but you choose not to. Think about it like this. You're sitting at home. It's 2 p.m. You've already eaten lunch, but now your mind says, go grab a snack. You're not really hungry. You're just bored. So what do? You listen to that voice. You open the fridge. You grab something, anything, because why not? And in that moment, you've just given your power away, not to someone else, to your own mind. And the worst part, you think that's freedom, but it's not. That's bondage. You're not choosing your life. Your impulses are choosing for you. Now imagine this instead. You've trained your body to eat at 8 a.m., 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. It's 2 p.m., the craving hits. You feel it, you acknowledge it, but you smile and say, it's not time yet. And just like that, the craving passes. You stay calm. You don't feel deprived. You feel powerful. That's real freedom. Freedom isn't being able to eat when you want. It's being able to wait without suffering. We've been sold a lie. That discipline is restriction. That structure is suffocating. That following a routine makes you rigid. But let me flip the script for you. Structure is what gives your soul direction. Discipline is what liberates your energy from chaos. Without it, you're not free, you're fragile. One mood swing, one bad day, one temptation, and you crumble. The strongest people I've met in this life are not the ones with the most choices. They're the ones who've learned to choose with clarity even when it hurts. Here's something I've learned from monks, warriors, and ancient traditions alike. Discipline is the path to peace. Because when your day has structure, when your sleep, your meals, your movement, your focus all have rhythm, you don't waste energy on decision fatigue. You don't wake up wondering, should I snooze the alarm? You don't ask, what should I eat today? You're not ruled by whims or urges. You wake up and walk forward like water flowing through a riverbank. Not because you're forced to, but because you've trained your mind to obey your mission. Let's go deeper. If you think freedom is chasing every attractive face you see, ask yourself, does that bring you closer to peace or further from it? You say you're free, flirting around while your partner waits at home. But what kind of freedom leads to betrayal, confusion, heartbreak? That's not freedom. That's temptation wearing a mask. Real freedom is the power to stay loyal to what you value most, even when no one's watching. When you master that, you don't just earn respect from others, you earn it from yourself. And that's the kind of self-respect that no one can take from you. Let's redefine what it means to be free. It's not about being able to say yes to everything. It's about knowing when and how to say no. Discipline is not the enemy of your joy, it's the guardian of it. Think of it this way. A musician needs scales before they can improvise. A painter needs form before they can break the rules. A martial artist needs foundation before they can flow. Freedom without form is chaos. But freedom within form, that's mastery. You don't need 100 options. You need one clear intention. That's what discipline gives you. The ability to direct your energy toward what matters most. And when that happens, when you stop leaking energy, chasing cravings, distractions, and emotional storms, suddenly you have power, you have peace, you have clarity. That's when your soul breathes. Let me ask you something. If someone promised you peace, purpose, clarity, and fulfillment, but in exchange you had to eat at the same times every day, move your body every morning, and silence your phone during deep work, would you do it? Most people say they want peace, but the truth is they want ease. And ease and peace are not the same. Ease is momentary. Peace is earned. Discipline is the bridge between the life you have and the life you want. And no one can walk it for you. I remember one of my teachers once said, when you give yourself to structure, structure gives you back your life. At first, it's hard. It feels unnatural. You crave what you used to run, to the sugar, the scrolling, the attention, the chaos. But then, slowly, your nervous system settles. Your clarity sharpens. Your soul speaks louder than your impulses. And you realize something powerful. You don't need more freedom. You need more alignment. Freedom is not doing whatever feels good. It's doing what keeps you grounded, especially when you don't feel like it. So here's the truth most people ignore. Discipline is painful in the moment, but it saves you from suffering in the long run. The pain of saying no to temptation today saves you from the pain of regret tomorrow. The pain of sticking to a plan today saves you from the chaos of having no direction. The pain of staying loyal to your values today saves you from the heartbreak of betraying your own soul. That's not punishment, that's power. So I want you to ask yourself, where in my life am I mistaking chaos for freedom? Where am I running toward comfort instead of commitment? Because the day you stop reacting to every craving, the day you stop chasing every distraction, the day you stay committed to your core, that's the day you become truly free. Not because you can do anything, but because you don't need to. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a full night's sleep, but still woken up feeling exhausted? Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like your soul never got to rest? That's not a sleep problem. That's an energy problem. You see, most people think energy is just about rest, sleep, coffee, but energy is not about what time you go to bed. It's about alignment, rhythm, repetition, structure. It's about whether your lifestyle is supporting your nervous system or draining it. We live in a world that's constantly stimulating us, but rarely nourishing us. Notifications, emails, sugar highs, dopamine drops. You start the day reactive phone in hand, scrolling. You eat whatever's convenient, not what your body actually needs. You push through with caffeine, crash by 3 p.m., and wonder why you feel depleted by sunset. Here's the truth no one wants to face. You don't need more time. You need more vitality, because time without energy is useless. You can't create. You can't lead. You can't even enjoy the people you love if your energy is fractured. Energy is your most sacred currency. How you spend it determines what your life becomes. Let's simplify it. There are 3 pillars of energy: diet, what goes in your body; breath, how you oxygenate your system; lifestyle, how you structure your time. If you want to transform, you don't need a new personality. You don't need to quit your job or move to the mountains. You just need to bring consistency to these 3 things. Let's talk about diet. Food isn't just fuel, it's information. Every bite you take sends a signal to your body. It either builds you or breaks you. But so many of us eat unconsciously. We eat because we're bored. We eat because we're stressed. We eat because it's time, not because we're in tune with what we actually need. Imagine if, instead of asking, what do I feel like eating, you asked, what does my energy need right now? That single shift in perspective can change your entire day. Then comes breath. When was the last time you really breathed? Not the shallow, anxious, chest level gasps we do all day. I mean, a full inhale through your nose, into your belly, slow and steady. Breath is life. It's the remote control for your nervous system. When you control your breath, you shift your state from stress to calm, from chaos to clarity, from reaction to response. Breath is the bridge between your body and your mind. It's the fastest, most powerful tool you've had access to your whole life, and most of us never use it. You don't need a guru to teach you how to breathe. You need to remember how to breathe. And then we get to lifestyle. And this is where transformation either lives or dies. Because discipline in lifestyle is where your highest self is built. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's waking up at the same time, even when you're tired. It's training your body when your mood says no. It's going to bed on time, even when Netflix begs you for one more episode. This is the stuff that rewires your identity, not one breakthrough, not one event, but one consistent habit repeated daily until you stop having to think about it because it becomes who you are. People say they want transformation, but what they really want is to feel good without effort. And that's not how it works. You don't transform when it's easy. You transform when it's structured. Structure isn't control. It's care. It's how you honor your potential. It's how you stop leaving your well-being up to chance. Let me tell you a story. When I was living as a monk, we woke up at the same time every day, 4 a.m. sharp. We ate the same meals, we meditated at the same times, we trained, we studied, we served, all according to rhythm. At first, it felt restrictive, like we had no freedom. But then something clicked. The more consistent my routine became, the more freedom I felt. I stopped negotiating with myself. I stopped wasting energy on indecision. And what I discovered was that the structure wasn't stealing my joy, it was creating the space for joy to emerge. You see, your mind will always seek comfort, but your soul is searching for clarity. And clarity is born from rhythm. Let's flip the word discipline. Most people hear it and think of punishment, rigidity, harshness. But what if discipline is just another word for devotion? Devotion to your energy, devotion to your peace, devotion to becoming the kind of person who doesn't keep breaking promises to themselves. That's what we're really talking about here. A routine isn't about perfection. It's about commitment. Commitment to show up for yourself, even on the days when no one's watching. And here's the beautiful thing about transformation. It doesn't happen in grand gestures. It doesn't require you to burn everything down and start over. It happens in the small decisions made consistently. Waking up on time, drinking water before coffee, sitting in silence before screens, eating mindfully instead of impulsively, ending your day with reflection, not regret. These are the choices that build a new life from the inside out. So if you're tired all the time, if your mind is foggy, if you feel like you're dragging yourself through the day, it's not because you're weak. It's not because you're lazy. It's because your lifestyle is out of sync with your energy blueprint. Your body is sacred. Your mind is powerful. But you must learn to protect their harmony. And that starts with rhythm. Let me leave you with this. Energy doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. And you are not powerless to change that. You are one decision away from a different morning, one breath away from a different emotional state, one routine away from a completely different life. So build your rhythm, trust your routine, and watch your energy become the foundation of your transformation. Most people think pain is what hurts them, but pain is just the first arrow. The second arrow, the one that keeps hurting long after the moment has passed, is our attachment to thought. That's what really causes our suffering. See, we all get hit with life. That's unavoidable. You lose someone you love. You get betrayed. You fail. You fall. You break. That's the first arrow, and it's real. It pierces deep. But what happens after that is what shapes our lives. You replay the pain. You analyze it. You keep opening the wound, hoping for healing. But healing doesn't happen through rumination. Healing happens through release. Suffering isn't in the event, it's in the way we hold on to it. Let me break this down. Your mind is a storyteller and it's brilliant at it. It takes a single painful moment and it builds an entire identity around it. They hurt me, so I must not be lovable. I failed, so I must be worthless. They left, so I must not be enough. That's not the truth. That's a story. But the more you repeat that story, the more you start to believe it's who you are. And here's where the damage happens. You start protecting your pain instead of processing it. You become loyal to the wound. You stop growing. You stop trusting. You stop living, not because of the pain itself, but because you won't let go of the thoughts that keep it alive. So let's pause here. Ask yourself, what pain am I still carrying that no longer belongs to this version of me? What narrative am I replaying that's stopping me from moving forward? This is where real growth begins, when you stop blaming the first arrow and start disarming the second. There's a saying I love from Buddhist teachings, with our thoughts, we create the world. And it's true. The same event can happen to two people. One breaks down, the other breaks through. What's the difference? The meaning they give it. One says, this happened to me. The other says, this happened for me. One says, I'll never recover. The other says, this is where I begin. That shift from victim to creator is the beginning of liberation. But it takes courage to make it, because pain feels familiar. And the mind loves the familiar even when it hurts. Let me share something personal. There was a season in my life when I felt lost, confused, burned out. I was holding on to thoughts like, you should have it all figured out by now. You've disappointed everyone. You're falling behind. Those thoughts weren't facts, but they felt true because I kept feeding them. And every day I believed them, I lived smaller until one day I asked myself, whose voice is this? Who told you this was truth? And the answer was me. I had become the architect of my own suffering. And the moment I realized that, I also realized I had the power to design something new. Let's be clear. You can't stop every painful thought from showing up, but you can choose whether or not you engage it. Imagine you're standing at a train station. A thought pulls up like a train. You don't have to get on. You can nod, acknowledge it, and watch it pass. But most of us don't do that. We jump on the train. We ride it through memories, regrets, what ifs, and worst case scenarios, and we end up emotionally wrecked. Why? Because we believed every thought was worth following. But here's the truth. Not every thought deserves your energy. Not every emotion deserves your reaction. This is where mindfulness becomes a superpower. Not just sitting in silence or breathing deeply, but training your awareness to say, I see you, thought, but I don't serve you anymore. That's when things begin to shift. You stop reacting to pain and you start responding with presence. You stop being dragged by your emotions and you start leading them. And let me tell you, your mind will resist this. It will say, but they were wrong. You have to replay it. It will say, you have to stay angry. You have to stay hurt. But ask yourself, is this thought helping me heal or keeping me hostage? Because the moment you let go of the need to replay the pain, you create space for peace to rise. You free your energy. You free your joy. You free your identity from the version of you that was built in survival. I want to give you a practical tool. The next time a painful thought arises, don't just suppress it. Observe, label, release. Say to yourself, this is a memory. This is a fear. This is a projection. And then, I am not this thought. I am the observer of it. Breathe into that. Let it pass like a cloud. Return to the present. You don't fight the storm. You rise above it. Look, this isn't about spiritual bypassing. It's not about pretending you're not hurt. It's about choosing how long you want to carry the pain. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. And every time you choose to release a thought that no longer serves you, you're choosing to suffer less. That's what real strength looks like. So here's what I want you to remember. You are not broken. You are not weak for feeling deeply, but you are powerful enough to choose how long you stay in the storm. Your thoughts are not chains. They are choices. And today, you can choose a different story. A story where the pain no longer defines you, where the past no longer controls you, where the mind serves the heart, not the other way around. Because that's not just healing, that's freedom. Have you ever had everything you thought you wanted, but still felt empty? You had the job, the relationship, the home. On the outside, things look good, but on the inside, there was a quiet ache, a question that wouldn't go away. Is this it? This is the pain of misalignment, of building a life that looks good, but doesn't feel good. It's the pain of achievement without purpose, action without meaning, success without soul. And I want to tell you something, you're not crazy for feeling this way. You're waking up, you see modern life is full of doing. We chase goals, deadlines, promotion. We hustle for validation, praise, and approval. But we forget something simple. Fulfillment doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters. There's a difference between movement and meaning, between being busy and being aligned. You can fill your calendar and still feel empty. You can accomplish everything society told you to and still feel lost. Because fulfillment isn't about what you do. It's about who you become while doing it. Let me take you deeper. Purpose isn't something you find in a perfect job description. It's not written in the stars or hidden in some guru's book. Purpose isn't something you discover. It's something you decide. Yes, you decide. You give your life a mission. You choose the values that will anchor your actions. You take the time to ask, what do I want to stand for? What impact do I want to have? What story do I want to tell with this one precious life? Don't wait to find purpose. Start by living with intention, and purpose will reveal itself. Now, here's the trap. Most people don't start because they're waiting to feel ready. But purpose isn't something that appears when the conditions are perfect. It shows up through the action. You don't wait for the motivation. You generate it. You don't wait for clarity. You earn it step by step. The first version of your purpose won't be perfect. And that's okay. Because the goal isn't to get it right. The goal is to grow through it. Think about it like this. When you're walking through a foggy forest, you can't see the whole path. You take one step, and then the next few feet become visible. That's how purpose works. It's not found. It's followed. You take the next right step. You serve where you are. You show up fully even when no one is watching. And slowly, the path appears. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine two people. One wakes up, hits snooze 5 times, drags themselves through the day, and spends every spare moment distracted. The other wakes up with a small ritual, maybe a moment of gratitude, a deep breath, a quiet intention. They move with focus. They give their attention fully to their work, their family, their growth. Now, here's the secret. They might both be doing the same external job, but one feels burned out. The other feels alive. Why? Because one is living on autopilot and the other is living on purpose. Fulfillment isn't a reward you unlock at the end of your journey. It's the fuel that carries you through it. And it's born in the smallest moments, saying no to what drains you, saying yes to what grows you, showing up with love instead of obligation, serving even when no one claps, choosing integrity over convenience. These are the building blocks of a meaningful life. Not the big titles, not the big paychecks, but the small, consistent choices that align your soul with your steps. You want to feel fulfilled? Stop chasing the life you think you should have and start living the one that's calling you. Ask yourself, what brings me alive? Who do I become when I do that? And how can I bring that energy into everything I do? Because your purpose isn't one thing. It's a frequency, a way of being. And when you align with it, everything changes. Your work becomes meaningful. Your relationships become deeper. Your challenges become teachers. Now let's talk about action. So many of us feel stuck because we're waiting for permission. But let me be clear. No one's coming to hand you your purpose. No one's going to show up and say, you're ready now. You have to start before you're ready. You have to move while you're scared. You have to try while you're uncertain. You have to commit even when you're doubting, because action is what builds clarity. Movement is what reveals direction. You don't need a 5-year plan. You need a next step. One small aligned action today can change your entire trajectory. Here's something I've learned from both spiritual practice and science. When your actions match your values, your nervous system calms down. You feel less anxious, less fragmented. You become congruent. Your thoughts, your words, your choices, they all align. And that alignment, that's fulfillment. It's not about what the world says is successful. It's about what you say is meaningful. Let me leave you with this. If you feel lost, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're being invited to go deeper, to ask better questions, to stop chasing the world's definition of a good life, and to start crafting your own. So today, give your life a purpose, not someday, not when everything is perfect. Now, let it be simple. I exist to grow. I exist to love well. I exist to serve others through my gifts, and then live that fiercely, consistently, beautifully. Because you weren't born to float through life numb and disconnected. You were born to feel it, live it, and fulfill it. There's a voice inside you that never stops talking. You know, the voice that second guesses your every move, that says you're not ready, that says you always mess it up, that whispers, stay safe, don't take the risk. Now here's the truth. You've never been told you are not that voice. You are the one listening to it. And mastery begins the moment you stop obeying that voice and start observing it. The mind is not your enemy, but it's not automatically your friend either. It's a tool. And just like any tool, it depends on who's holding it. A knife in the hands of a surgeon can save a life. That same knife in the hands of someone reckless can cause harm. Your mind is no different. When you're unconscious of it, it runs wild. It creates stories based on fear. It overanalyzes. It catastrophizes. It holds on to the past, projects into the future, and skips right over the present. But when you're conscious, when you master the mind, you use it to design, to solve, to serve. Let me say this as clearly as I can. You were never meant to be a slave to your thoughts. But that's what most people are, prisoners in their own minds. You don't decide what to think. Your thoughts decide what you do. The craving arises, you obey it. The doubt shows up, you believe it. The fear screams and you run. That's not freedom. That's mental submission. And until you take the seat of the observer, until you create space between the thought and your reaction, your mind will continue to run your life. I want you to imagine this. You're sitting in a room. Thoughts walk in like guests. Some are loud. Some are quiet. Some wear masks. But you're the host. You don't have to let every thought stay. You don't have to serve it tea. You don't have to believe what it says. You simply watch. And in that watching, you reclaim your power. That's what mastery looks like. Not control, but clarity. Let's go deeper. The mind is designed to keep you alive, not fulfilled. Its job is survival, not self-actualization. So when you step outside your comfort zone, the mind screams, danger, unknown, uncertainty. But that's not danger, that's growth. And if you listen to your mind every time it resists discomfort, you'll never evolve. Your mind wants safety. Your soul wants expansion. And the two are rarely in agreement. So the question is, which voice will you follow? Here's the part that most people miss. Your mind isn't always telling the truth, it's telling a pattern. It repeats what it's learned, what it's seen, what it thinks will keep you small and protected. That's why transformation feels unnatural. Because your mind says, this isn't who we are. But here's the key. You are not who your mind says you are. You are who you choose to become again and again in each moment. I've coached people from all over the world, CEOs, artists, athletes, parents, students. And you know what they all have in common? They all battle the mind. The same thoughts just with different labels. Imposter syndrome, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of being seen. But the ones who rise, the ones who lead, heal, and transform aren't the ones who stop hearing the voice. They're the ones who stop believing it. Let me tell you something that changed my life. When I lived in the ashram, we didn't just train our bodies, we trained our minds. And the first lesson they drilled into us, don't believe everything you think, because the mind will lie to you. It will say, you can't, you're not enough, it's too late, you'll fail. And if you don't learn to challenge that voice, it will bury your potential before it ever has the chance to be born. But when you become the witness, when you pause, observe, and choose intentionally, that's when you begin to master the mind instead of letting it master you. I want you to try this. The next time you feel fear rise, pause. Don't suppress it. Don't run. Just ask, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is it mine, or did I inherit it from someone else? This creates space. And in that space, choice is born. The mind loves automation. But mastery is always a conscious act. Let's talk about discipline for a moment. Discipline isn't about force, it's about focus. When you master the mind, discipline becomes devotion. You don't do things because you have to. You do them because you choose to again and again, even when it's hard. And in doing so, you become someone your mind respects. It stops pushing back because it knows you're in charge now. Here's something that might shake you. Your mind doesn't want you to be free. It wants you to be comfortable. But comfort isn't the goal. Clarity island. And clarity comes when you train your mind like you would train a muscle. Through repetition, through conscious redirection, through stillness, through silence, meditation, breath work, journaling. These aren't spiritual trends, they're tools of mental mastery. Tools that help you stop reacting and start responding. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you caught yourself in the middle of a thought spiral and said, this isn't me? When was the last time you paused, watched your thinking, and redirected it like a skilled driver correcting the wheel? Because that's what mastery feels like. It's not loud. It's not forceful. It's quiet, calm, and in control. And the more you practice it, the more you realize the mind doesn't own you. You own the mind. So today, I want to challenge you. Don't try to stop your thoughts. Just stop letting them run you. Watch them. Question them. Reclaim your seat. Because the mind is powerful, but it's not you. And the moment you realize that, you're free. Let's be honest, most people aren't stuck because of their circumstances. They're stuck because of their comfort zone. And what lives just outside that comfort zone? Fear of change, fear of failure, fear of being seen, fear of letting go. And so they stay, not because life is fulfilling, but because it's familiar. Not because they're thriving, but because they're not terrified. But here's the truth. Your comfort zone is where dreams go to die. Let's not sugarcoat this. Its fear is real. It's powerful. It lives in all of us. But fear was never meant to be your compass. It was meant to be your classroom. Every time you run from fear, you shrink your life. But every time you face it, even trembling, you expand. That's why the most important question you can ask yourself isn't, what do I want? It's, what am I still avoiding? Because what you avoid controls you. But what you face, that's where your power lives. Let me tell you something you already know deep down. If you only do what's comfortable, you'll never become who you're meant to be. And that's not just poetic. That's neuroscience. Growth requires stress, the right kind of stress. What scientists call eustress, the healthy stress that comes with challenge, not crisis. You build muscle by breaking it down. You build courage by stepping into fear. You build identity by doing things the old you would have avoided. Your comfort zone isn't keeping you safe. It's keeping you small. When I was living in the ashram, I remember one morning during meditation, my teacher said, the path of transformation is simple. Sit with what you fear until it no longer scares you. And I remember thinking, that's it? That's the secret? But over time, I understood what he meant. Because fear doesn't disappear through avoidance. It dissolves through exposure. The more you sit with it, breathe through it, move through it, the less power it has over you. But let's be real, facing fear isn't glamorous. It's not always dramatic or cinematic. Sometimes it looks like having a hard conversation you've delayed for years, leaving a relationship that feels familiar but no longer aligned, saying no when your whole life you've been a people pleaser, saying yes to a calling that no one else understands. It's not the big, bold moment. It's the consistent decision to lean into what scares you instead of running. Here's what you need to understand. Fear will always be there, but you get to decide if it's in the driver's seat or the passenger's. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is fear walking. And when you stop waiting to not feel afraid and start moving anyway, you activate a deeper part of yourself, a part that's been dormant, waiting, watching. That's the version of you you've been longing to meet. Let's talk about letting go, because facing fear isn't just about action. It's about release. There are things in your life right now that need to be let go of, versions of you that were built for survival, not expansion, patterns that once protected you but now limit you, expectations that were never yours to begin with. Letting go isn't failure. Letting go is freedom. And the moment you release what no longer serves you, you create space for what wants to come in. But most people are so busy clinging to the known, they never receive what's meant for them. So let me ask you, what are you still holding on to? What identity are you still defending, even though it doesn't reflect who you are becoming? Because the next chapter of your life requires a different author. You can't write a new story with the pen still in fear's hand. Here's the practice I give my clients. Name your fear. Say it out loud. Don't hide from it. Feel it in your body. Where is it stored? Your chest, your stomach, your throat. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Don't run. Don't numb. Don't scroll away from it. Act anyway. Small intentional steps. Nothing drastic. Just momentum. Every time you do this, your fear gets smaller. Your confidence gets bigger, and your relationship with yourself gets stronger. Because confidence isn't built by avoiding discomfort. It's built by proving to yourself that you can survive it. Let me speak directly to your heart. You are not here to tiptoe through life safely and arrive at your death unshaken. You are here to evolve, to stretch, to experience the full spectrum of growth. And that means walking into unknown territory again and again, not recklessly, but deliberately, because everything you want, everything you are, lies just beyond what's comfortable. You weren't born to repeat yesterday. You weren't born to be a watered down version of yourself. You were born to transform, to outgrow your old habits, to shatter your old ceilings, to rewrite your story. And transformation doesn't happen by staying in your favorite chair. It happens when you say, I'm scared, but I'm still going. I'm unsure, but I'm showing up. I'm uncomfortable, but I know this is where I grow. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. It's time to stop flirting with your potential and start committing to it. It's time to stop waiting for the fear to go away and realize you are stronger than your fear. It's time to leave the comfort zone, not because it's wrong, but because it can't hold the real you anymore. The you that leads, the you that loves, the you that lives. Because at the end of your life, you won't regret being uncomfortable. You'll regret being unchanged. You won't regret falling. You'll regret never leaping. You won't regret the courage it took to rise. You'll regret the years you spent sitting on your power, waiting for a better time. This is the time. This is the moment. This is your life. Step into the fear, leave the comfort, and meet the version of you who's been waiting on the other side.